Now, phone and broadband firms are being criticised for profiteering after putting up prices more than inflation, even when customers are midway through their contracts. Major providers are being accused of hiding information as well in the small print to confuse customers when they're trying to switch to another broadband service. Government regulators say baked-in price rises should be transparent at the point you sign up. And if they're not, then customers should be entitled to leave without charge. Joining me on the show now is James Fredrickson. He is the Director of Policy and Regulatory Affairs at Hyperoptic. Plus, Jasmine Birtles, MissMoneyMagpie.com. She is still with me. So, James, Hyperoptic, you're a broadband provider, but you're trying to highlight this issue. How bad is the issue from your perspective?
Well, it's pretty bad. When we think about the scale of the price rises that we're looking at, it's consistent across the major operators across the United Kingdom. So that's about 25.9 million households that are looking at a mid-contract, above inflation price rise hitting them. So you're right, we don't do that at Hyperoptic, but on top of that, we want to make people aware of what's happening in their contracts. We think it's a complete outrage that, particularly in light of the cost of living crisis that you've already been talking about on your show today, that the broadband operators are kind of jumping on the back of that and getting away with this. So we think it's a job for the industry regulator, Ofcom, to investigate and understand if these terms are really prominent and transparent to the point that customers are actually aware of their contracts working in this way.
Here are some of the price rises. These are from January. And in January, of course, CPI inflation, the Consumer Price Index inflation, was 5.5%. BT's prices went up plus 9.3%, so well above 5.5. TalkTalk plus 9.1. Vodafone plus 9.3. Much, much higher than CPI inflation. Jasmine, what do you make of this? Do you think that broadband providers, of course, which they will deny, do you think they're using the fact that inflation is higher, a more inflationary environment, to up their prices? After all, their costs aren't going up, are they?
Well, exactly.
I mean, really? It's a network that already exists.
Yes, quite. Maybe they've got sort of employment costs going up, increasing salaries a bit. But other than that, it's not like it's a high street shop, which would have increased costs, definitely. It's certainly a restaurant, cafe, whatever, that you can clearly see they do. But with broadband, no, I don't think they do. I think it's shareholders. I think they're wanting to give more profit to shareholders. And I think we need more competition here, because we are seeing more competition in mobile phone operators. You've got SIM-only deals that are really, really cheap. With the broadband providers, the best I can say is that you've got one or two that are offering special social tariffs for those on benefits. But that's the only thing that I can see, that I've heard of in recent months, that they've done right, if you like, certainly in terms of pricing.
But we know people, a lot of people on benefits are struggling. Benefits went up 3.1% from April, whereas by April, the government was estimating 7.4% inflation for the year from April to April 2023. And a lot of people are struggling who aren't on benefits, who were comfortable before, but are getting whacked by the rising cost of living. James, just for fairness, could you tell me how much your prices went up? I read out some of the others.
Not at all. No increase.
No increase at all. And could you also tell me, I'm not a telecoms expert like you are costs going up for broadband providers? If you run a restaurant, everyone can see the cost of food's going up. Everyone can see that the cost of electricity's going up to heat your restaurant, the cost of gas to cook the food. And so you can understand why the prices are going up in restaurants. If you're a broadband provider, is there any sense in which your costs are going up? Maybe wages are going up for the people you employ, but where could some justification come from for hiking prices if basically you're operating a fibre optic network?
Well, the biggest cost for a fibre optic network is the delivery of the network when you first are rolling it out. So the civils work, the digging, the blowing the fibre through the tubing through the ground or across poles in the air, that is a one-off capital cost. So whilst that is a significant investment, that if you're building a network across the entirety of the United Kingdom, you're looking at many billions of pounds, it is a one-off cost. Now, some of the operators that you've listed, they use a BT Openreach's network. And Openreach will probably try to defend some of these price rises by pointing to the amount of investment that they're making in their network. But
to point out that they are making big investments. They are making big investments. But that's my point, though. Most of the investments have been up front. They didn't have in their financial models that inflation is going to hit 7, 8, 9% or wherever it's going, did they?
But the key piece there is that that particular operator is regulated, and the regulator has already allowed them to make more money. It regulates their pricing, and it's letting them make more to pay for that investment. So they are already using that excuse in one area. I'm pretty skeptical about it being used again. They're already getting that benefit by saying that they're investing, and it's a one-off piece. I really don't think that justifies a mid-contract above inflation price rise to the extent that we're seeing.
And we are seeing it. You run moneymagpie.com. You have many readers, users. They get personal finance advice from you. It's what you do. Obviously, a lot of them are writing to you about gas and electricity bills. Is broadband featuring in their concerns?
Well, I think that the thing is, what's happened, and I think possibly the broadband companies are using this, basically everything's going up. What we're hearing is everything is going up. People's council tax is going up. As you say, food is going up. Tax is going up. Everything is going up. So I think people are just thinking, oh, here's another one going up. And some are questioning it. Some are just going, well, you know, that's what's happening.
But that's what happens in an inflationary environment. Everyone jumps on the bandwagon, even if their costs aren't rising in particular.
Exactly. And I do think that this is the case with broadband, and I would like to see the regulator clamp down on it, because it's simply not reasonable. It's perfectly fine to make profit. That's the point of their existence. But to, really take the mic like this is not helpful at all. I would like to see the regulator coming in and actually saying, no, enough is enough.
Well, thanks to James Fredrickson of Hyperoptic for joining us in that discussion. And Jasmine, you're staying with us. We should say that all the mobile phone companies that we've mentioned deny any accusation, any allegation of profiteering. They say their price rises are justified. A spokesman from BT has said price rises are never popular, but are sometimes a necessary part of business if we're to keep up with the rising costs we face and ensure we can continue to deliver a brilliant network experience as customers' usage of data grows month on month. And let's bring in Virgin Direct. They've said, while we recognise a price change is never welcome, with rising costs and customers using ever more data than ever, this price increase will fuel further investment in our network and services. We're committed to providing excellent overall value as well as extra perks such as priority. Thanks to all my guests today on that important discussion on broadband prices. We'll continue to keep an eye on them here on The Money.
Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.